You've worked hard your whole life. You built up some savings, some retirement accounts. Maybe you even own your own business. But what happens to it all if something unexpected happens to you? That's where a trust comes in. Trusts are not just for the super wealthy. They're really a smart tool that can protect your assets and your loved ones. So stick around. In this video, I'll break it all down for you in plain English. So what's exactly a trust? Simply put, a legal arrangement between three parties. There's the grantor who creates the trust and grants their property into it, the trustee who manages the assets, and then there's the beneficiaries who receive the benefits of the trust. A helpful way to think about a trust is as an entity, similar to a company or LLC, designed to hold some or all of your assets, providing structure and protection for your wealth. Now, there are many types of trusts, but most trusts fall into one of two categories. You have revocable and irrevocable trusts. A revocable trust is also sometimes known as a living trust, and this allows you to keep control of your assets while you're alive. You can change or even cancel it at any time. So it's a great tool for avoiding probate, which can really be a time-consuming and expensive process. So if you think of a trust as like a company you form, in that analogy for a revocable trust, you are the CEO of the company, so you still have full control over everything in it. There's also irrevocable trusts. An irrevocable trust is a trust that can't be changed once it's set up. So why would anyone want a trust that they can't change? Well, it offers protection from creditors and can help reduce estate taxes, making it a powerful tool for asset protection. Using the analogy that a trust is similar to a company you've formed, with an irrevocable trust, you're not running this company, but you must name some other person to be in control. In order to get the benefits of an irrevocable trust, such as asset protection, you are legally required to give up control over those assets. Let's talk about why so many people choose to use a trust. Wills go through the court process known as probate. And that's because when you have a will, your assets are owned in your personal name. But when the assets are placed in a trust, they're technically owned by the trust itself, kind of like putting them into a company you created to hold and manage them. And that small change actually makes a really big difference. So here are some of the key benefits of using a trust. Avoiding probate. A trust allows your assets to bypass the court process entirely, saving your loved one's time, stress, and potentially thousands of dollars in legal fees. Privacy. Unlike a will, which becomes part of your public record after you pass away, a trust keeps your estate matters private and confidential. Control over asset distribution. So you can set the rules. Do you want your children to receive their inheritance in stages? You want to delay a distribution until they reach a certain age? A trust gives you all that flexibility. Asset protection. Certain types of trusts, especially irrevocable trusts, can protect assets from creditors, lawsuits, or even long-term care costs. But even revocable trusts can help protect your loved ones after you're gone. For example, let's say your daughter inherits $500,000 directly from you, and later she goes through a divorce. That inheritance could become part of the marital pot and end up being split in the divorce. But if that inheritance had been left in a trust with built-in protections, it could be kept separate from the marital assets and off limits to that ex-spouse in the divorce. Incapacity planning. If you become incapacitated, your successor trustee can step in and manage your assets according to your instructions, so there's no court-appointed guardian needed. Blended family and complex family planning. So trusts give you special advantages with these situations as well. Let's say you're remarried and have children from a prior relationship. Well, without a trust, your spouse could end up inheriting everything, and your children could ultimately be unintentionally disinherited, leaving them with nothing from you. But with a properly structured trust, you can provide for your spouse during their lifetime and then ensure that the remaining assets go to your children after your spouse passes. Special needs planning. A trust can provide for a loved one with special needs without disqualifying them from government benefits like Medicaid or SSI. In tax planning, trust can be part of a broader estate tax or income tax strategy, especially for larger estates or people looking to pass on generational wealth. So when it comes to planning your estate, you might be wondering, should you use a will or a trust as the foundation of your plan? Here's the deal. While both are useful tools, a trust offers several advantages that make it the better choice for most people. One of those is flexibility and customization. A trust really gives you way more control. You can decide how, when, and to whom your assets are distributed with precision. You want your kids to receive money over time instead of in one lump sum. You want to set up rules around how the money is used. A trust can do all that and more. Long-term cost savings. Even though a trust may cost more upfront to set up, it can save your family thousands later by avoiding that probate court process. Remember, probate is the court process that your assets go through when you only have a will, and it can be expensive and time-consuming and totally public. Incapacity planning. A will only kicks in after you pass away, right? So a trust is effective immediately, which means if you become incapacitated, your successor trustee can step in without court involvement. And that's a huge benefit when life throws a curveball. In privacy, trusts are not public documents. And unlike a will, which becomes part of the public record when it's submitted to the court, a trust keeps your financial and family matters private. Speed. Faster is better. Here's one of the biggest perks of using a trust. There's really very little waiting around. Assets can be managed or distributed right away without getting stuck in court. And that means that your family can act quickly, keep bills paid, and avoid lawyers in courtrooms. So who shouldn't use a trust? Honestly, that's a shorter list. If someone has very few assets, no property, no children or loved ones to provide for, then, and if they're not concerned about probate, privacy, or incapacity, then maybe a simple will would work. But for almost everyone else, a trust is usually the better option. And that's it. That's a wrap on Trust 101. Hopefully, this gave you a clear understanding of what trusts are and why they're such a powerful estate planning tool. If you have questions or you want to explore if a trust is right for you, reach out. Happy to talk.